just finishing up another one. I got another one to do. I just couldn't get any video. But the neighbor here used to have the most beautiful St. Augustine until last week. I was taking care of his yard. It's a massive, massive property. It doesn't look that bad, but you've got detail work on each of the drives, detail work around the patios, the fencing in the back, the garage. And I was edging at the wall all the way around the buildings because he just put fresh paint. So if you go look at the buildings, you'd see a gap between the concrete, the stucco, and the turf. It was beautiful. And then he, you know, goes and cuts it himself. And there's broken sprinkler heads over here. He's way over the line. I'm still doing this lawn, but I'm seriously thinking about not taking that back on because, one, all the detail work will not be done, so it'll be that much more difficult. Two, well, you see he's over the line. His white fence is the line, and there's a broken sprinkler head right here that I think is going to be the one I'm going to try to stay on and quit him because I'm not going to want to mow that. He's got a lawn tractor. There's no way he can get high enough to deal with the lawn that I set up. He's below the water line. That lawn is going to drought out now unless he waters the hell out of it and probably uses chemicals, and I'm not interested in any of that. So anyway, when you start trying to bring this back up to a height where it can self-shade and it'll still be healthy, it's going to be so straggly because you don't have the peer pressure of the grasses. The first grasses that get higher at the cut height you want to go back to so that you're not hitting sprinkler heads. Those are going to be weeds probably, and they're probably going to be not surrounded by anything else. So there'll be a few of them here and there. Those are really hard to get because there's no weeds next to them or grasses next to them to hold them in place. Okay, so those are going to be like stragglers. It's going to have to be a cross-up pattern. He's got lines running every which direction. It just looks like total crap. And where this doesn't maybe look all that big is when you get down into that wooded area, and I'm not going to walk over there because he's outside doing something. You can't keep your lines straight. There's no way. And you end up with so much redundancy on passes that little wooded section takes as long as almost everything else because you're going over stuff almost 5-6 times, right? So, but yeah, this is the way my lawns usually look. You know, the argyle or cross pattern, almost full transport height cuts, and that's what it takes when you don't get rain sometimes for 2-3 weeks. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at, and that's an example of how it is here in Florida. In other parts of the country, folks hire lawn guys because they're busy. They're out making $500-600 a day or something. You know, I don't even know. Here, they've all got time to take your time, and they've all got money, and they want your money too. So that's what I'm going to do. But another reason, maybe back off of this street, is that lawn was never worth my time. This lawn, her husband passed away, and things have kind of changed on it as well. And another reason is I've had more near-death experiences on this particular street, I think, than any other. Okay, so for those reasons. And you know, the one thing that occurs to me is this has come up before with this guy next door, is that he seems to have a class mentality where, you know, if you are driving in a car that's subpar for what he wants as an image, then you aren't of a class that's good enough to do business with or for him. And he, you know, there's the wooded part. It takes forever. I bet you he's on day 2 of destroying that lawn. And I bet he won't be done today. Well, he might be done today. There's not a whole lot left. But I do it in an hour. And I make it look so easy. And I make it look so beautiful when I'm done. And I guarantee you, well, actually, I already know because he called me the other day. And he says, oh, well, I mowed it this time, but I'll see you in 2 weeks. In other words, he's trying to lock me down to stay on. And I'm not going to stay on. I'm not going to keep wasting my time. I can cover 3 yards in the time it takes me to do that one and double the total revenue that I'm getting from that lawn. So, oh, by the way, we're in the Geo pulling the Hustler Super Z60. Yeah, as you can see, it'll loop around in U-turns and it does just fine for surface streets. I wouldn't put it out on a highway necessarily. I was out on a highway today though, but I was running about 55. Yeah, I'm just, that's just so typical of this area. So, and that goes to, you know, people say, oh, you want to build relationships. You may where you're at, but I don't care about it. It's never paid off for me. Your demographic is getting ready to go in the ground, or there's no loyalty, or after this real estate thing that just happened, they're moving, or the property's getting sold and they're just exploiting you to put your magic to it. I mean, this realtor calls me all the time and she's like, oh, we need your magic touch. And she did just the other day, but it was clear out Citrus Hills. I told her I don't go clear out there anymore. You know, and I'm not going to bump anybody else on my regulars to take up something and then lose a regular. It's not worth it. So, but yeah, they all want the magic touch. But that only pays off if you're getting paid in that instance, or if you're going to have them for a long time. And here, the prices are so competitive, it never pays off in that instance. And it never pays off in the long term because people are dying or moving. These folks, they just don't want to stop until they got you bent over. Another reason I think I want to end up quitting that lawn was because the size, the runtime on the mower was so long that the hydraulic fluids would heat up. And then usually I would do that wooded area last, and then with hot fluid, you know, all of those turns. See, technically, if you do turns enough, the same shot of oil stays in the loop. I mean, you'd have to really be pushing it, but that happens to a certain degree in that oil that's going through that wheel motor, instead of you reversing direction and having that oil go back to this pump head, to the pump and the swash plate and the pistons inside there, and then reversing again and having that same slug of oil that's never made it around to the tank, and then it's never made it through to the hydro coolers. You see what I mean? That piece of oil is going back and forth a lot, and plus just the action of it puts the wear surfaces on the pistons and the swash plate, causing more friction because there's more load demand when you're going forward, backward, turning around trees. And then, of course, when you're turning around trees, when you push on this side of the tire, it can transfer side load into your wheel motors and cause you problems with seals and bearings and stuff in your wheel motors. So for me, it's just better to stay on the standard 80 by 120, and then in the future just realize that you go anything above that and it's a whole different animal. You need at least double on the money just because of the extra time and the extra wear on the mower. So those are factors that weigh in too. And I've noticed when I got off the mower after doing his property, the mower's just, you know, really hot. There's heat just radiating off of the engine and hydro system and everything. And then the same thing on the string trimmer. You know, by the time I'm done, this one was new, so I would get that. This is a 30-20 with the Ryobi split shaft on it. So I would get that plastic that hot plastic smell. And, you know, I mean, there's no point of it. You can do a normal lawn so quickly that your systems don't heat up like that. And that goes a long ways towards longevity. All right, y'all have a good day.